A beautiful night in Toronto as two Ontario teams do battle. Yes, it's an all-Ontario rivalry. Only 4.5 hours separate these two sides as Toronto FC2 take on the Ottawa Fury at Lamport Stadium. Welcoming all tuning in on USL, Soccer.com, ESPN Plus. I am Gareth Wheeler, alongside former Canadian international Terry Dunfield. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference table. It's crunch time, Terry, when it comes down to the Ottawa Fury. Just 3 points back of a playoff spot, and the games simply are running out. They need to take full advantage.
Yeah, the pressure's starting to mount. They haven't won in 4. They've lost their last 3, not scoring in there. So the pressure is really coming. They need points today. But when they look at that that TFC2 lineup, they might be thinking it's not going to be so easy.
Absolutely. It's one of 2 games against TFC2 coming down the home stretch, and tonight for the Reds, a very different looking side than the team that Ottawa Fury beat 3-0 back in May.
Yeah, I think Ottawa had a fantastic May. In May, they won 4 and draw 2, but a lot has changed for TFC2. There's a new coach, Michael Rabaska's here, and at the moment, players are playing for places. They're playing for roster spots next year. There's first-team players down now. 8 first-team players come into this side today.
3 goals for Ottawa Fury in that match. They haven't scored in their last 4 altogether. Chris Piniella, a familiar face back in Toronto. He was the inaugural captain of Toronto FC2's USL side back a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was nice to see him play a couple months ago for Ottawa against TFC in the Canada Cup in the second leg. He came on to BMO and got a nice applause from the crowd. Former captain, I think Liam Fraser breaking into the first team, just pushed him down the pecking order. Played in League Ontario. It's nice that he's found himself back into Canada, into the USL, and he's playing well at the moment for Ottawa.
And look at this, one of the big guns down tonight for TFC2. It's Nick Haglund, 15 games in all competitions with the first team. It's a very much a different looking TFC2 side tonight.
Yeah, a lot of experience at center half. And beside him, you have Hernandez as well. I love Nicky Haglund, athletic, an absolute beast in the air. And I think he'll enjoy playing today. Better than training, go out there and try to use some of that experience and help some of the younger players through.
There's no way around it. These 2 organizations simply do not like one another. Canadian rivals. And it's going to be front and center. Can TFC2 continue to play spoiler? And can the Fury get things right? We're about to find out here on USLsoccer.com. Welcome back inside Lamport Stadium, downtown Toronto, as the Ottawa Fury and TFC2 about to do battle. Gareth Wheeler alongside former Canadian international Terry Dunfield. Stage is set. Beautiful night here in Toronto, about 23 degrees Celsius. Here's a look at the Ottawa Fury starting 11. It's a 4-3-3, Terry.
Yeah, it could look possibly like a back 3 as well. Nana Corda, Canadian international. Looking forward to seeing him play. Former TFC2 player, also in midfield, Chris Piniella, and it's a very physical front 3.
An important player for Ottawa, Eddie Edwards, suspended for tonight's matchup. As for Toronto FC2, a much-changed team. There's only 3 players who retained their spot from the 2-1 loss against Atlanta United last week. And multiple first-teamers coming right into the starting 11.
Lots of experience, in particular at center half, Nicky Hagelin and Jason Hernandez. It'll be interesting to see how Noble Okello does, a young Canadian youth international, with those two in behind him, and then Jordan Hamilton up top leading the line.
Michael Rabaska is the head coach for TFC2. He's done a very nice job with a very young team, and today has some new fancy toys to play with here tonight. And as for the Ottawa Fury, here is their first-year head coach under general manager Julian de Guzman and Popovich. We're underway here at Lamport Stadium. Thrilled to have you along this Thursday night. The ball played to the top. Early goings here at Lamport Stadium. The ball off the turf, and there's a shot put wide of target. The Ottawa Fury have failed to score a goal in their last 4 games, winless in their last 4, obviously, Terry, over that span.
Yeah, that was a good opportunity early doors for the Cape Verde frontman Dos Santos. It actually sat up quite nicely off the turf for him.
Dos Santos leading the way. Steven Dos Santos, 4 goals and 4 assists on the season. Unfortunately for Ottawa, that's been their Achilles heel, putting the ball in the back of the net. A league low 24 goals scored, and which is absolutely remarkable that this team still remains right in the playoff hunt in the Eastern Conference.
I think this Ottawa Fury team is built around how they defend and looking just to break from deep and picking those moments. They're very compact and a very good counter-attacking side.
Ryan Telford, local product, coming down the left-hand side. Ball sprays out to Matty Serbel, who did score that lone goal against Atlanta United last time out. A lot of Canadian content in both sides tonight. One player also missing from the Ottawa Fury. He's on Canadian national team duty as the qualifying for the CONCACAF Nations League is about to get underway, and Maxime Crepeau, he's a no-go tonight as he's down in Bradenton, Florida. David Monsalve, player with bags of experience now, taking the #1 job for Ottawa, at least for tonight. Here's Ashton Morgan.
Nice opportunity for Monsalve. He was actually in Toronto FC's academy a few years back.
Between Monsalve and Adekora and Piniella, a lot of familiar faces.
It's always interesting playing against your former club. I used to always wake up that morning and have a little skip to my step. You always want to put one over them and maybe show the organization, look, maybe you got this one wrong.
Long ball played by the vastly experienced Jason Hernandez. Just can't connect with Jordan Hamilton, who's bounced back and forth between the first team and TFC2 over the course of this season. He's always played well whenever he's come down and played in USL action. Just so much athleticism from number 22 in red.
Yeah, I really like Jordan Hamilton. I don't think there's many holes in his game. I think he's got soft feet. He's able to hold that ball up. His movements improved over the last couple of years. And it's just taking that opportunity when it comes your ways. It's difficult with Javinko and Altidore in front of you when you're in and around that first team, also experienced Canadian international, Toe St. Ricketts. But when that chance does come over at BMO, which is less than a kilometer away from here, you have to score, and ultimately that's how center forwards are judged.
Here is Ottawa coming on the break. The ball laid off to Steven Dos Santos. He's a towering figure in the middle of the park. Tony Taylor on his left foot, back of the net just like that. What a strike. The goal-scoring drought is over, and it's Taylor getting the marker, putting it past Borja. Ottawa Fury 1, TFC 2, no score.
Yeah, disappointing goal to concede so early, and it's a goal Ottawa really need. It looked as though when Portilla had the ball here, the momentum of the attack just stopped. The ball comes out wide to Dos Santos, back to Tony Taylor. Noble Okello, the youth Canadian international, has to get closer there. Tony Taylor really sets himself nicely, and what a strike this is. Just nestles into that far corner. I don't think, Wheels, there's a lot Borja can do with that.
Picture perfect placement into the low left-hand corner to the right of Borja. That's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Ottawa Fury. The goal-scoring drought no more. This team, give them a little bit of confidence here. It's a must-win game for them here tonight.
He's just allowed to come inside way too easily. I'm sure the scouting report's been passed on to the players that he's very much left-footed, and I think Noble Okello's got to do a better job just keeping him wide. Take nothing away, though. Wheels sweetly struck.
Well, you wanted to see a really good start from Noble Okello tonight. Still just 17 years of age. And he's played a lot of football this season. Struggled last time out against Atlanta United. He took it hard, Terry. You know, it's still in the back of his head.
Yeah, I thought he was phenomenal in the game before. And I thought that game against Louisville where TFC won 4-1 away, that was the turning point under Michael Rabaska. But it's a long trip to Louisville. They only played 3 days later on the Friday night against Atlanta, were beat 2-1. And it was interesting, do you give the young kid, Noble Kello, another opportunity to show out and put that wrong, or do you give him a little bit of a breather?
Piquero, some nice movement down the left-hand side for Toronto FC. John Piquero. Came over in a mid-season trade with the Chicago Fire, Terry, and the initial impressions is the player is bags of talent.
Yeah, he's got a nice profile and physical presence about him as well. He's a smart player. He likes to sort of play in between the lines. It'd be interesting to see what his final best position was. But playing for the first team, I thought he was excellent away in Portland when TFC were beat 2-0.
Serval Campbell, he stepped up. He's emerged as one of the top players for this TFC2 player. And the right-hand side, he's pushed forward, he's played inside as well. Where do you think his best position is?
I like him in midfield. He's very industrious, and he's come through Toronto FC's academy, and he's a little bit different to your cliched academy player that's normally quite clean and technical. I think Dante Campbell gives you something a little bit different. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, a little bit of attitude, loves to get stuck in, and it's interesting to see him now develop a little bit later on. I think Michael Rabaska's been fantastic for him.
Match officials tonight, the great David Barry, nobody better. Peter Penley and Philip Dujic. Fourth official is Alexis Vaughn.
It was interesting a couple weeks ago. I think we were probably, we weren't calling the game together. It was Matt Diccolangelo. And I called David Barry out on a couple of his things on the broadcast and said, you know what, that might have been a second yellow. You got that wrong. Maybe play a little bit more advantage. He actually looked me up on LinkedIn, reached out to me and said, you know what, Terry, fair play.
Really?
Yeah, I love that communication, especially the fact that I was right. But
by the way, Matt Nicolantonio will be calling you up after butchering the pronunciation of his name. Congratulations to Matt and his wife. He's away on his honeymoon right now. All the best. Terry Dunfield, his card is in the mail. I'm not sure if he'll ever arrive if you spelt his name the way you just pronounced it.
So
right
that's
there.
why I didn't get an invite. I think there'll be a check in that card as well.
D. Nicolangelo, wow.
Do you see the slight hesitance? I was just gonna stop at Matt.
Yeah, just stick with Matty D. Subasa Endo coming in the right-hand side. Endo inside the 18. Squares it for Hamilton. Good shot on target. Tesman Salve straight at him. Really nice build-up down the right-hand side from TFC.
Yeah, Sebastião Endo, since a mid-season pickup, since coming in, he's been excellent. When the ball comes to him, normally he plays on the left-hand side of a front three. Today he's playing on the right. It's a nice ball between the lines from Dante Campbell into him. He carries his run forward, and it's a nice cutback to Jordan Hamilton, and it's a little bit of a hesitant finish. He doesn't really commit. Yeah, he does well to hit the target. I think the fact that it bounces just before him maybe puts him off.
Almost just need to place it in the corner, Terry. Great opportunity for Hamilton.
Yeah, I think there's enough pace on the ball where you could direct it to the corner with your instep, but either way, I'd love to see my 9 there really commit to whatever action you go for.
Endo dropping a little deeper than we've typically seen over the course of the last month here with TFC2 as part of the USL Team of the Week last week. Hamilton, good sliding challenge. Piquero from distance. Well, bend it like Piquero, just didn't bend it quite enough.
Yeah, to be interesting. It looks as though even more so since Ottawa got that early goal, they're going to set up with a real low block of a 4. You called it right in the pregame, Wheels. It's not a back 3. And when you sit deep in a block, there's shooting opportunities from distance. Piquero, the former Chicago Fireman, really gets hold of that. That doesn't miss by a whole bunch.
You know that the Fury, desperate for a result here in Toronto, must be having nightmares coming here, playing in the Canadian Championships against Toronto FC too, and they've done well when they played in Ottawa against TFC, whether it be TFC or TFC2, but coming down to the capital of Ontario, it's been a little bit of a challenge. Yeah,
it was interesting the way that two-legged Canadian Cup semi-final played out, and if you win the Canadian Cup as TFC did against the Vancouver Whitecaps, you actually move on to play in the CONCACAF Champions League, so there's a ton at stake, but I thought TFC went away to Ottawa, won 1-0. It was an early Jonathan Osorio goal, did the business, saw the game out. But if I'm honest, I was a little bit disappointed by Ottawa in the second leg where TFC beat them 3-0. There wasn't a real threat to their side other than maybe a long throw.
Piniella, very familiar with Ashton Morgan. Piniella gets the better of him that time. Hernandez wearing the captain's armband, sliding through. Big challenge, especially on this AstroTurf.
Yeah, he's a fantastic organizer. He's had a very long career in the MLS, playing for San Jose, now TFC. Excellent organizer, tons of experience, and he's the type of player that makes players around him better. I spoke to Michael Rabaska about what he's brought since coming to the side. He's had 2 days to work with the senior players this week, and just pure experience, leadership, and organizational skills. Jason Hernandez.
Nick Hagland, Morgan. Centurion with Toronto FC. Hamilton, flag goes up on the far side. He's offside. Some of TFC's great supporters here tonight in great voice. I like how they walked in. It was a dramatic statement after the final whistle. They're
fantastic support.
in great voice as always.
Great to see the flag. It seemed like a bit of a statement walk, didn't it?
It did. Monsalve, long ball, Hagland. It's always his in the air. 3 goals on the season for Nick Hagland. You can guess where they've come from. Set piece, corner kick specialist, always moves forward with the play. Here's Captain Carl Haworth playing in the right-hand side. Solid number 9 for Ottawa Fury. Haworth. Taylor looked to have handled. The big man, Dos Santos. Well defended by Okello and Telford. Here they come down the other end.
That's better from Okello.
Much better. Endo with patience. Serbal.
It's going to be difficult to break this Ottawa Fury team down. Popovich really has them organized. That early away goal is going to make it even tougher. And then you've got the pace of Dos Santos and Taylor to hit on the counter. So not only are you trying to break it down, you need to be wary of that counter.
Good ball, Endo to Serbal. Fury. Snuffing out that danger.
Lots of experience in that left back slot. Lapierre, former Montreal Impact player. Can play in midfield as well as a nice left foot. Has caps for Canada.
A couple big names with caps for Canada also within the Ottawa Fury organization. David Edgar just recently signed a contract with the Ottawa Fury. Played many years over in England with Newcastle and Burnley. And Michael Petrasso on loan from the Montreal Impact. Here's Subasa Endo on his left foot. Well cut down by Oliveira, and that's out for a TFC throw. If you're just tuning in, a Tony Taylor strike in the 4th minute. Really stunned this crowd here early at Lamport Stadium. Bent it right into the corner. Ottawa Fury 1, TFC 2, no score. Gareth Wheeler, Terry Dunfield with you. The Ottawa Fury just 3 points back of the playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Unfortunately for them, teams around them have games in hand, so each and every match is of the utmost importance.
Yeah, after a little bit of a slow start for the Fury, they had a fantastic May where they won 4 and drew 2, and that's really been the foundation of their season so far. I think Dos Santos, he missed the early part of the year. They missed him, their big target man up top. He's a real focal point for them, the player to sort of play off up top. But it would have been interesting to see some of the faces on this Ottawa Fury team when they see all the experience in this TFC side.
Well, it's a team showing all kinds of ambition. They're staying in USL next year, and Canadian Premier League's coming into play, and Ottawa just doing well in the USL just made sense for me, all the sense in the world, to stay in the USL and try to do something very special where they are.
Look,
it's a good level.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Canadian Premier League unfold big time, but I think this goes to show how far that the USL has come.
Absolutely.
The Fury are invested in this league, and they've really committed to it. I think their franchise as a whole now has a value, and I think just the sport in North America is taking off, and with the MLS going to another level in the last couple of years, I think now that the USL is building, crowds are higher, more soccer-specific stadiums. So.
Better teams of quality, you're right. Attendance through the roof this year for USL, and absolutely making great strides. And Ottawa fitting the bill, fitting right in with some of the top teams in this league.
And it's evolving too. Next year, for the first time, there's going to be a third division as well, where TFC2 are going to play.
The aforementioned David Edgar spent some time with Nashville earlier on this season.
Yeah,
there he is right there.
Yeah, tons of experience with the Canadian national team. As you see there, 42 caps. Is captain the side. Played for Newcastle.
Scored a great goal against Manchester United.
It was deflected. Great personality.
It was a statement goal. Young Canadian player bursting on the scenes.
Yeah.
It was. You know him very well. Is that what you tell him? Do you tell him that to his face, Terry?
I'm not going to tell him it was a great goal. His head's big enough. He had a horrible injury after playing in England, had a loan spell at Sheffield United. He came back and played for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and in the offseason, he unfortunately picked up a real bad knee injury.
It was a career-threatening injury.
Yeah.
Accident.
I'm told it looked as though his knee, it looked like he block tackled a train, but he's worked really hard to get back where he is. Played some games with Nashville. He was actually training with TFC2 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I think TFC2 decided to sign with Endo, and I'm sure Ottawa Fury have reached out to David Edgar, the connection with Canada Caps leader Julian de Guzman, who's a GM, and I think not only will he be good as a player, but also as a leader for this group with some of these young Canadians.
Well, the pride of Kitchener, Ontario, just about an hour outside of Toronto here, to the west of the city. Good to have him back playing in the province. Hernandez. Game's really settled in, Terry. The tactics are pretty straightforward. Toronto FC have all kinds of width, and Ottawa very content to just pack it in. Block of 4, block of 3, block of 3.
Yeah, I think TFC2 are just having a little bit more joy down that right-hand side. I like the relationship of Dante Campbell, Matty Serbo sort of drifting into that area, and of course Endo finding pockets in between, getting some good crosses into the box. We saw Jordan Hamilton have a good opportunity.
Campbell. Hagland. Well defended again down the left-hand side. That's Jeremy Lepere.
It's a little bit of a nightmare start for TFC2. Of course, you never want to concede, but the Ottawa Fury really chasing that last playoff spot right now. And when you're away from home and you score early, you've really got something to protect now. And it's an organized side that now protecting that lead and countering.
Well, and it's a different context for TFC2 with a vastly different team. A lot of these players haven't played with Toronto FC2 on the year. Players trying to get their minutes. Here's Hallworth coming down the right-hand side. Look at the athleticism, the strength of Ryan Telford to see that out of touch for a TFC goal kick.
What a ball that was from Fortia, though, on a rope. I love the first touch from Hallworth, how he took that at pace. But as you said, Wheels, Gaz, the athleticism of Telford to get back. I think Hallworth had a 2-yard head stop on him, was there to be seen, and we've seen it in little cameo roles with the first team. He's had a real big season this year.
Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. Kello. Good switch of play to Endo.
Look, it was a wonder strike from Taylor to give the Fury an early lead, but I think when you look at the video, Okello could have put a little bit more pressure on him, but we saw him make an early mistake against Atlanta, which led to a goal, and I think that mistake really affected his entire performance. It's nice to see here tonight, after that sort of early half error, that it's not affected his performance so far, Okello.
Great ball, Haglund to Morgan. Telford just held up his run, but Caro now inside the 18. Morgan came off second best there. Picked up a little bit of a knock. He's back on his feet. Haglund. Hamilton checks. Kello, heavy touch. Dos Santos, committed, wins that ball. Here's Taylor on the run. Skirts past Hernandez, tries to play in.
Yeah,
Ruballero just didn't come off, and well read by the TFC back line.
Yeah, I thought Hernandez did really well to just sort of delay the progress, and the work rate from Okello was fantastic to come back and cover him there. I thought Ashton Morgan there could have used the width a little bit better there. Already we're seeing TFC really stretching Ottawa, this low block, but I thought Telford was in a better position rather than Ash coming inside there. It was a nice little overload that all started with a fantastic diagonal from Nicky Haglund.
Telford. Haworth read that like a children's book.
He did, and normally you see attacking players, he's playing a little bit deeper now. He's slotted into this fullback role. So kind of maybe gets sucked in, or the position's not quite right. He did a really good job of covering Baquero and also the wide player Ashton Morgan there. Typically
used to seeing Eddie Edward play down that right-hand side.
I like Eddie Edward. I think he's a solid USL player. Spent some time with FC Edmonton in the NASL.
Campbell, step over. The pair limits his space. Endo typically going a little bit more back tonight than he usually does, Terry. A player that's not afraid to take on defenders on the dribble, force the issue a little bit. Maybe needs to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, I actually quite like the relationship of him and Dante Campbell. Dante Campbell getting forward is creating a little bit of space for Endo to pick that ball up a little bit deeper. But these are the types of areas you want Endo on it. You want Endo in the 2v1, whipping that ball in, with all due respect to Dante Campbell's quality.
The Fury hemmed into their own end. Telfer
Another way to beat a low block as well is on the dribble. It's great when you've got a player that can actually go past someone and create a little bit of an overload. And I think you have that player in Ryan Telfer if you can isolate him 1v1 against Haworth.
Morgan, dangerous ball, and Hamilton just couldn't get in front of that. Well defended by the Fury. Dangerous ball in by Ashton Morgan. Here he comes down the left-hand side. Skirts past two defenders. Haworth there, steady as can be. Kello does well. Baquero, possession numbers completely one-sided here in the early going.
I thought that was very good defending play. Protected the goal really well, Nana Adekora. Looked as though Ashton was going to play it in behind the back four, and then Hamilton might have even had to tap him, but Nana does really well. The pitch looks quite dry at the moment. The AstroTurf's just a little bit longer. It's a touch sticky.
Morgan, Lapierre, he heads that.
I thought the turf just took a little bit of the pace out of the cross.
78% possession thus far for Toronto FC 2. Nothing to show for it. Morgan inside the area. Adekora again does well. Campbell down the right side. Endo. Haglund. Good ball, Endo to Campbell. Lofts it up. Monsalve one-handed. A little bit of a Statue of Liberty there. Gets away with it. Generally want to see a puncher take it with two hands. DeSantos taken down, and the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow at USL on Twitter. Gareth Wheeler, Terry Dunfield with you. Tony Taylor, you know a guy that wears 99 in Canada, a little bit of the Gretzky, Terry. His goal in the 4th minute separates these two sides. The Fury with a big goal as they try to continue their push through the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just a start they would have wanted to on the back of, not to be negative on them, 3 tough defeats, and the last game were beaten by a very good, exciting young New York Red Bulls side 1-0. But I think that early goal just helps us settle into the game nicely, and since the goal, really, TFC have been in control and dictated the game well, and early on, TFC looked as though they were gonna break Ottawa down that right-hand side, and now it looks as though TFC are doing a great job of fixing Ottawa on the left and just looking to shift the ball across the game channel out here to Ashton Morgan and Ryan Telford.
Hernandez. Morgan becoming more and more dangerous. Adekora does well. Solid. He's a rock back there. Spent many a year in USL. Hamilton can't get past him after starting his career at Adekora with Toronto FC. Haworth. Good recovery there. Lubillero. Dos Santos just plays it long. And here we go. The red wave continues. The thing is, Terry, Ottawa's been extraordinarily disciplined in their defending and staying in those blocks, but as the tired legs sink in, it's very difficult over the course of 90 minutes to play this way.
Yeah, I use the analogy a little bit of it's like chopping a tree down, and you're not going to chop it down in one, but eventually if you keep whacking away at that tree, openings will start to come up, and nice movement there again from Matty Serbal to get him behind.
Serbal, a little bit of confusion there as Meyer Jaguar plays that off a defender. Oliveira, TFC back in possession, sloppy from Endo. DeSantos tries to catch Borja off his line. The ball hangs up just wide of target. Borja's heart in his throat, as that would have made the highlight reels for all the wrong reasons.
Leboyera made a nice run in behind off him, but he never fault a player for trying something like that. He needed the Tiger Woods 2-iron. He brought out a little bit of a 7-iron. It was hanging up in the air a little bit too long.
Morgan, better running off the ball by Baquero and Hamilton in the last few minutes of this match.
I think the spacing from TFC2 tonight is much better than what it was against Atlanta. I thought against Atlanta, a side that played with 10 men for 45 minutes, TFC were just a little bit narrow, trying to play through the density in the middle of the park. They're doing a great job of making the pitch big, and I think what's going to be important as well, not only making that pitch big, is moving that ball quickly to try and create 2v1s or 3v2s in wide areas. It's interesting, since that early goal, it's almost turned into a real attack versus defense, or a real tactical game.
Well up, Nick Haglund. Very few players have the aerial ability as Nick Haglund does in the back. DeSantos is a big boy, so decent little matchup there. Lapierre, good flick on by DeSantos. Endo pumps the brakes. Lapierre comes through the back of the player, and David Barry's gonna have a word.
A little bit of an unnecessary foul. It's not the worst foul in the world to give away for Ottawa. It just breaks TFC's rhythm up a little bit. I thought Endo did a great job of recognizing that all the bodies of Ottawa had shifted to the left-hand side, and rather than forcing it down there, he turns out nicely and comes out. Lapierre, he's a real aggressive player and loves to get stuck in, and it's just a little bit of a late tackle on Endo here.
A little anxious, left it in.
Just needs to be careful. I think David Barry will be thinking next sort of late tackle from Lapierre is It's got yellow card now
Which
written
again,
all over
with all
it.
this pressure, Terry, just makes it that much more difficult. Baccaro.
Just taking an extra touch there. I thought Ashton took an extra touch. Baccaro as well. Keep that ball moving quickly.
Again, more defending by the Ottawa Fury. Toronto FC too. I mean, head coach Michael Rabasco will be happy with the product, just lacking that little bit of cutting edge in the attacking third here in the 31st minute of play.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. I think the patterns are nice. I think the team's working hard to find that opening, but other than that early Jordan Hamilton opportunity, there hasn't been a real final product. Monsalve hasn't really been tested. I think TFC2 are doing a good job of getting into good areas, but they're not quite getting in behind the Fury.
Endo. Interesting, Endo's playing deeper typically than Campbell. This entire first half of play, see Campbell much higher coming back from the right back position, and Endo, the midfielder, dropping a little deeper. Has to be by design. You don't see Ashton Morgan and Telford doing it down the left-hand side. Haglund, good switch of play. Well read. Hallworth is the ball hung up on Haglund.
That's one of the big differences under Michael Rabasco. You just see a little glimpse of it there. I know Ryan Telford spent predominantly most of the season with the first team, but there's a real repress from TFC2. They're looking to, when it's on and the cues are there from their opponents, is try to win that ball higher up the pitch. Really try to play on the front foot. But it looks as though the TFC2 have been well drilled and expected that regardless of that early goal that Ottawa were going to sit back and that they're going to shift that ball from side to side and try to open up Ottawa that way.
On the bench tonight for TFC2, players that USL viewers will be much more familiar with. Lars Eckenrode, Kyle Bjornathan, Jordan Faria, Aiden Daniels, Malik Johnson, and Sean Hundle. So a young bench tonight for Michael Rabasco. And the backup goalkeeper, Spencer King, with Caleb Patterson-Sewell, the team's #1, dealing with a little bit of an injury issue. Yeah,
he picked up a knock in training unexpectedly. The Australian 30-year-old's been excellent since coming into the club this season. Nice opportunity for Borja in net, though. Hasn't played a whole bunch. Went to university over in the States. Went back to his homeland, Spain. Was playing in the lower leagues a little bit.
Kello, just those long legs. Sorry, Terry, just to cut you off. I mean, he's just such an intriguing player, isn't Noble Okello?
Yeah, I think the ceiling, not just because he looks like a roof painter, is extremely high with him, and there's very little he can do. I think it's going to take time, and the club needs to be patient for him to grow into his body. But one of the best ways to learn is from senior professionals and being in and around top pros like Hernandez and Haglund, and just learning almost while you're playing a little bit on the fly, and learning. Sometimes you learn your best lessons from mistakes. But your eye's definitely drawn to him big time. It'd be interesting to see what his final position is. One thing I will say about Noble Okello is regardless of how the game's going or what the score line is or whether he's coming off the bench, he never hides. He always wants that ball.
Campbell, crossovers. Well done by Campbell. Here's Lapierre, getting known Lapierre. Doing well at left back and just straight out of play. This is a difficult watch for our viewers, Terry, with Ottawa, the team that's chasing the playoff spot, just simply put, not being able to keep possession of the ball. It's like they're playing with 9 or 10 players here.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
There's no intuition. Here we go, like this is it, counterattack. Ribeira. And given straight back to TFC2. It's not very pleasing to the eye, is it, Terry?
No, it's not. But it's a clear. There's a clear game plan, and the players are sticking to it, and they must believe in the club and what Popovich is selling. I think the two center halves have been excellent as well, just protecting that goal. If TFC get into good crossing position, I thought that was excellent work from Dante Campbell to double step over. And that's cutting out a lot of crosses.
And that's why that first goal was so key, because now you're telling, okay, TFC2, let's see what you have. It really puts all the pressure and the initiative on the home side here. They're not playing in front of their home supporters. They just want to come away with the points here tonight. So it can absolutely be justified, but you'd expect a team that's, you know, a playoff quality in USL just to make sure that they cherish possession of the ball a little bit more than they have here tonight, thus far.
Yeah, it's interesting how different clubs approach the game, and I think the mandate's a little bit different for the Fury. There's lots of experience in this side, and it's a pretty good, from what I can tell, a pretty good budget that this team is expected to make the playoffs this year, and they're playing to get into the playoffs. And TFC too, the mandate's a little bit different. It's about developing players, and players today for the first team with an international break getting important match minutes, and they're able to show Coach Greg Vanny, Dim Bezbachenko, the GM here, assistant coach Robin Fraser's here, what they can do.
Christian Portilla is about to take this corner kick, and look at how many players are inside the 6-yard box, Terry. It's like a rugby scrum in there. Look, there's no one outside by the penalty spot. Here we go.
Maybe Popovich is saving all his tactics for set pieces. I sat on the fence really there trying to help him out, but this counter-attacking style, it's a little bit like watching a Man United side.
Please. This is the former City player. Here we go, Portilla. Interesting corner kick tack, and Haworth plays out, and the ball goes straight into the far corner. If that's what Popovich was looking for, well, Portilla did him a favor. Far post, goalkeeper can't get there, and I mean completely against the run of play. It's the Ottawa Fury 2 and TFC 2, no score.
I think Borja starts to concentrate on the opposition in and around him, and just gets caught underneath it. It's a horrible feeling. He's nowhere near it. He's more worried about his near post and the flight line of the ball. Portilla's got excellent quality. We saw it in the diagonal about 10 minutes early. It's a great ball from him. Borja knows, and he should do better. I like Portilla. He's a good player. If given time and space, he can hurt you, but it's a tough one for Borja, who's come in for the injured Patterson.
I counted 9 players between the goalkeeper and the ball, and here the ball spills to Ryan Telford.
Yeah, good tackle from Atakora there. Just beats Telford.
Oh, sorry, Terry. Big collision as Jason Hernandez comes right through Steven DeSantos. Now, he was going for the ball. There's no doubt he was going for the ball as Ashton Morgan's getting in the middle of this. DeSantos took the brunt of that violent blow, but Hernandez was absolutely going for the ball. I think anything more than a yellow would be absolutely harsh on the defender.
Yeah, I think Hernandez actually beats DeSantos to it, which may save him from any more serious than that. His eyes are completely focused on that ball first look. Howard digs it out from his own end. I think DeSantos, at second look, just beats him to it. I think it's a little bit reckless. I don't think there's any intent there or malice. It's definitely a yellow card. Good hold-up play from DeSantos. He gets his body in front of Hernandez.
It was a big collision and on an unforgiving surface.
And normally also, Wheels, you're able to brace yourself a little bit when you can feel that contact coming. I don't think DeSantos sees Hernandez until real late. And there's a little bit of whiplash, a little bit. You can see his head go back. Two big boys going at it.
So DeSantos remains down. I want to get back to the goal that was just scored just a few moments ago. And perhaps Ottawa, by putting all those players in front of the goalkeeper, and we're going to take another look. Nikola Popovich, the head coach, I mean, this is by design that he put 4 of his players right there on the near post. This has to be by design, Terry, just putting the goalkeeper in a vulnerable position. Here's another look.
Yeah, there's some big boys in this Ottawa squad as well. I'm not sure what Dante Campbell's doing at the back post. Possibly if he stays on the post, he's able to clear it. But I think the biggest take from that goal is the fact that I think Borja just loses focus and he starts to engage and see the players around him. And in the end, he gets caught underneath it and he doesn't actually get on the flight line of that ball.
See, Piniella will tell you he was going for the back of the net, but players aren't going to score from a corner kick. But that is created or designed that way to cause problems for the goalkeeper. And I think you said it, Terry, the way to avoid that is having that defender tucked in on the far post.
The other thing I'd say too, looking at his Borja's starting position was a little bit high as well. If he starts maybe a little bit deeper,
I don't think you could see the ball. I don't think you could see the ball from when it came off Portilla's foot.
Interesting set piece. What Popovich was trying to do with the screen in front of him worked 100%.
But it was weird because it wasn't really a player on the far post. Haworth popped out, but if that's by design, I mean, good on him. Curious to listen to the coach's comments post-match. Taylor runs out of play, and for our viewers, there are multiple lines on this field. It's a multi-use facility. The yellow lines around the field are the football dimensions or the soccer dimensions. The white lines, which completely confused Tony Taylor there, they're for the Toronto Wolfpack rugby team who are playing in the Super 8s right now in Rugby League, and a club that's exceptionally popular here in the city of Toronto. So
you've been to a couple games?
I've been to a couple games. It's a great experience, drawing very good crowds as well, and a top team climbing the ranks of the Rugby League. Here's Piniella. Good layoff. Here's Taylor again. Already scored one goal on the night. Turned back by Serbal. Shot from distance, and well, Portilla should perhaps continue, limit his scoring his attempts on goal from the corner kick.
Yeah, it was a wee bit ambitious. Nice little ball around the corner in the build-up.
Watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season and stay up to date with news from across the USL at the league's official Facebook page, facebook.com/USL Soccer. Gareth Wheeler, Terry Dunfield with you. If you've been watching this match through 42 minutes, you're thinking, how is Toronto FC 2 not down just one goal, but two? All the possession, but it's Ottawa Fury taking full advantage of their limited chances. And
I'd say it was two bits of quality from Taylor and Portilla on both of the goals, but there's also been a couple of half errors from TFC2. Borja obviously caught on the corner kick there, and young Noble Kello could have put maybe a little bit of pressure on Tony Taylor. And one of the things for the young TFC2 players that they're learning at the harsh reality of professional football that might not happen at the academy level is mistakes in professional leagues like the USL are going to be punished.
Taylor, that's his 5th goal of the season. Portilla, that's number 2. Taylor now in sole possession of the goal-scoring lead on the season for the Ottawa Fury. Telford goes down. The players don't like it, but in fairness, I think the referee got it right. I don't think it's panic stations from Toronto FC. Just need to show a little bit more cutting edge in terms of taking advantage of all the possession they've had. Terry, incredible. TFC 80% of the possession. Endo inside the area. Baquero on the volley. Hamilton knocks that just past the far post. He was played onside by Lapierre. I don't think he knew that he was in an onside position. Golden opportunity goes to waste.
Yeah, it all comes from good play from Sebasa Endo, who gets to the byline. Another great run in depth. Good ball from Dante Campbell. Hangs it up to the edge of the box. Baquero doesn't hit that extremely well. It's tough to see from that angle whether he's offside.
Lapierre definitely played him onside.
Yeah, I think Jordan Hamilton just needed to, almost a cultured cushion header. He just gets too much power on it.
Two very good chances for Hamilton gone to waste here in the first half of play.
I think that second goal has given the Fury a little bit more of a lift where they're starting to come out of their shell and commit one or two bodies forward, which could actually suit TFC2, where there's no more space to attack when they win possession. I like Portillo. just lacks maybe a little bit of athleticism, but he's got a sweet left foot. Technically, he's good. Plays positionally, he's excellent. He's one of the players in the Canadian Championships in the semifinal that sort of I liked in this Ottawa side. At times, the game was a little bit too quick for him at BMO, but he definitely has quality.
Swing and a miss for Morgan. DeSantos is right there, muscles his way back onto the ball. Taylor, well read by Baquero, but Piniella does well to maintain possession. DeSantos, it was funny, I was looking down at the Ottawa Fury bench when they decided to go back with that free kick. There was frustration. When you have so much size, you almost want to get it into the mixer. Taylor.
One thing you will say about this Fury side is they're well drilled, and the players know exactly what's expected of them, not only going forward, but also defensively.
You heard the PA announcer, 3 minutes of time added on. Chance here, Serbal. Hamilton lets it roll. Campbell. Cuts it back to Serbal.
Hamilton needs to get in the box.
Baquero, poor first touch, then taken down.
Yeah, it looked like a foul to me.
Yeah. Referee, I think he just saw the poor first touch and just let it play.
Just
Fernandez.
looked like a bit of a striker's tackle from the big man, DeSantos. Where is Cape Verde?
I believe it's off the...
Sounds nice.
It's in Africa, I can tell you that. Need to get in my geography textbooks. Here's Endo through the 18-yard box.
Good idea from Baquero, a little bit different.
Yeah, I like that ball.
It's a tough run to mark for a defensive unit, that run from deep.
Well, Ottawa's been keeping a lot of the play in front of them. It's worth a shout to try to extend them a little bit, start trying to play some balls in over the top.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't come off, next time Baquero has it in that little bit of space, the back four might drop off, and then there's a little bit of space in front of that back four, a gap that the players can play in.
Well done by Hagland. Advantage given there. Endo to Baquero.
It'll be interesting to see how some of the senior players for TFC2 go on legs-wise. Great ball. Oh, it's just offside.
Flag goes up that time on the far side.
I think the assistant referee gets that right. Another organized line from the back four of the Fury. Be interesting to see how the Hernandezes, Haglin, Ashton Morgan, he's played a little bit more football. Telford, not regulars with the TFC first team, so yes, important match minutes, but it'll be interesting to see how long they play, but also what their fitness levels are at as well.
By the way, the Republic of Cape Verde is an island country, spending 10 volcanic islands in the central Atlantic Ocean, Terry.
Is it near Canary Island?
It forms part of the Micronesia area, along with the Azores, Canary Islands, and Madeira, and the Savage Islands as well. Don't want to forget about those.
I've been over that way. I've been to Lanzarote. Beautiful part of the world. Not quite as nice as the nation's capital, though.
Ottawa, beautiful city. And Fury supporters will be smiling here with a 2-0 lead with just about 20 seconds or so to go here, and whatever David Barry allows here in the first half of play. I think you're right. I think that second goal has really galvanized the Fury. They were hemmed in for long stretches, but they've really settled down, and there is the first half whistle. It was Tony Taylor in the 4th minute, opening the scoring, a very nice goal, betting it into the low left-hand corner, and Portilla directly from a corner kick in the 37th has given the Ottawa Fury a 2-0 lead. Terry, your thoughts on the first 45?
Yeah, it was a fantastic strike from Taylor with his left foot. Nothing Borja could do about that, and it was exactly the start the Fury needed after scoring. They just settled into a real deep block. They were organized, they were disciplined, and I thought TFC2 were doing a great job of shifting them around, moving that ball side to side, and then lay on a goal from Portilla off a corner kick, goes directly into the net. Great set piece from the Fury, and Popovic lining up 4 or 5 big bodies in front of Borja, and he just got caught underneath it.
Well, it's mission accomplished so far. 45 minutes in, it's the Ottawa Fury 2, TFC 2, no score as they try to march towards a playoff spot of the Eastern Conference. You're watching USL Soccer on USLsoccer.com. There aren't too many skylines better looking than this. The CN Tower towering over the city of Toronto, and Ottawa with a statement scoreline through 45 minutes of play. It's the Fury 2 in Toronto FC. No score. Welcome back inside Lamport Stadium. Gareth Wheeler alongside former Canadian international Terry Dunfield. It's been one-way traffic through 45 minutes of play. The team in red being TFC2 with all kinds of possession, but it's the Ottawa Fury taking advantage, and really the only thing that matters with a 2-0 lead. And this is how it's all played out in the first half, and it came early. Tony Taylor in the 4th minute of play, Terry, almost right out of the chute, taking advantage of some sloppy Toronto FC2 play.
It looked as though the attack initially was just going to peter out a little bit, but Tony Taylor eventually gets the ball from DeSantos, takes 2 touches to set himself, and really it's a moment of brilliance from him. Been a bit harsh on Novakello, saying that maybe could have put a little bit more pressure on him, but just to start, the Fury needed. It
started off with the Ottawa Fury winning that ball back, and then the red wave. I mean, TFC just came time after time again. This was a great chance. Jordan Hamilton, 1 of 2 really good chances in the first half, playing it straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I thought that was probably his best chance from open play. It was a great move. TFC early on in the half were fantastic down that right-hand side, creating nice 3v2s, and then as the half went on, I thought TFC started to do a better job down the left-hand side. The partnership of Ashton and Morgan and Telford was excellent. Here we see a little bit ambitious from DeSantos.
Steven DeSantos trying to catch the goalkeeper Borja off his line, and he was cut off his line. Now, I don't know if this was by design. 9 players between the goalkeeper Borja and the corner kick taker, and it's Piniella directly into the corner. Of course, he's going to tell all his mates he meant to do that. Do you think he did?
Yeah, I think the set piece is drawn up to just take the attention away from the goalkeeper, and Borja's just caught underneath it. This was another nice move down the right-hand side for TFC. Endo cuts it back to the edge of the box. I think Jordan Hamilton's looking, thinking he was offside. Vaquero doesn't hit it sweet, but I think Hamilton should do at least hit the target there.
Look at that possession number right there, 76 possession, but the Ottawa Fury, 5 shots in limited possession, Terry, so they're being economical, playing a little bit more direct, and certainly on the counter.
Yeah, I wouldn't say Ottawa looked a real threat on the counter. I think it's been disciplined defending from them. After the second goal, there was a little bit of a skip to their step, but with that possession, that 76%, I'd say it's been with a purpose. It hasn't been back and side passes. There's been a purpose to their passing, and it's to try to create overloads in that wide area. Try to pick on the fullbacks of the Fury, and I think the fullbacks, Howarth and Lapierre, have actually been quite good.
Now it's about the Fury holding on for dear life. Just 3 points back of a playoff spot. 3 points tonight would be absolutely huge. This crowd expecting more in the second half of play. League news and notes coming up next right here on ESPN Plus and USL Soccer.com.
Already see it here as maybe another potential chance for the Rangers. Long range shot, incredible save. Ball knocked over the top. What a touch! Guzman! What a delivery. Header, tipped over the bar. What a save.
It's Cousin.
Oh!
Sensational!
Handball. Jay Bolt saved by Ranjitsingh. Lance Lang!
And it's saved by Crépeau.
Are you kidding me? Antoine Opino! Tina kick save by Spencer Richards. Tina, a left-footed shot. Oh, wonder goal from Jesse Daly.
Headed towards Vega. Did he hold it out? Somehow, Daniel Vega holds it out.
Dennis can hit from this range. Aaron Dennis. Cross header towards the goal. It's Dejas punches it over the top to save the lead.
Fernando Adi over to his left foot. Fernando Adi, his first goal in Cincinnati.
Chambers, he's gonna hit it. And Pizer tips it over the bar.
The outswinger and volleyed in for a goal.
Defense, Lancer 1v1 versus Puadi, who makes a beautiful save.
Enriquez on it right! Skundrich, what a save from Pizer!
Welcome back inside Lamport Stadium. A beautiful Thursday night as Toronto FC2 finds themselves in a hole to climb out of. It's the Ottawa Fury, the visiting side 2, and TFC2 no score. Gareth Wheeler alongside Canadian international Terry Dunfield. Plenty of football action. It's an international break, but here in USL and really domestically here in North America, the games must go on, and some good games midweek across the league. Let's take a look at the USL scoreboard. The New York Red Bulls, too, they're still in a playoff spot, but a significant loss, 3-0 to Indy 11. The two bottom sides in the Western Conference putting on a show, 8 goals in total. They split the spoils, and Phoenix Rising, their level atop the Western Conference on 53 points. A nice win there, 1-0 over the Rio Grande Valley Toros. Let's go to the news and notes, Terry. What's going on these days in a busy USL schedule?
Yeah, it's great to see Cincinnati put a nice little run together before they come into the MLS, 16 unbeaten. And I think players not only trying to win the USL, you're playing for positions in MLS.
Fernando Adi on that team, a lash coming from the San Jose Earthquakes. They're a team it's going to be very difficult to beat. And another familiar face across North American football circles, the Great Dane, Jimmy Nielsen, taking over the reins of Hartford Athletic.
Great to see him still in the game and in North America. He's had a position as well with the affiliate of Sporting KC. Got a little bit more experience. Nice, so it's fantastic to see him in the game. Was a top goalkeeper 4 or 5 years ago in MLS.
And congratulations to Sebastian Gonzatti as well. Very good player, been a very good season for him. Well, this goal, if Portilla meant it, could be in the running for USL Goal of the Week. It's doubled the Ottawa Fury's lead. Second half action coming up next. You're watching on ESPN+.
The USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. Follow USL on Twitter. The USL's official Facebook page brings you the best across the league with news, highlights, and interactive features. Like the USL on Facebook to get the league's best content delivered for you.
Lamport Stadium on a beautiful Thursday night. The Ottawa Fury, that 4.5-hour drive down the 401, worthwhile thus far. A big 2-0 lead as they try to chase down a playoff spot. 3 points here tonight would draw them level for the final playoff spot in the USL Eastern Conference. Gareth Wheeler alongside Terry Dunfield. The Ottawa Fury, I mean, after tonight, these are the remaining 5 games left in the season. So after tonight, they've played 29, including another date right here in Toronto, Terry, at the end of September.
Yeah, I think 5 games going to hopefully getting into the playoffs. I think that's where you need to start to build up a little bit of momentum.
At Louisville's a tough one. That's a tough stretch right there.
The tough game in Louisville is the one that jumps off the page for me. Waited another game against TFC, and then you finish up against Bethlehem.
As for TFC too, I mean, they have plenty of games left. They're going to have 8 after tonight as they waited to get here into their new home at Lamport Stadium with new turf being laid down. Cincinnati, that's a very difficult trip, and they'll be relishing again that other home date here against the Ottawa Fury. 2
very different teams. You play a young side in the Red Bulls. It's always nice to match up against other affiliate clubs. New York's still a couple years older overall than what TFC2 are. Then you play the very experienced, unbeaten in 16 FC Cincinnati side.
I'll give a shout out to these supporters in attendance here tonight. We all know it's the opening night of the NFL football season, and these people know where their priorities are at. Support your local club.
I absolutely love that from the supporters, and a great shout out from you, Wheels. I've lost my bet. I was on the under of 45 minutes for you bringing up the Eagles, your team. I've lost there. It's only taken 50 minutes.
Well, my father, I've gone dark, and I'm going to be watching it on PVR a little bit later on tonight because I know where my priorities are at as well, Terry, but my father let me know a weather delay in Philadelphia, so all of our viewers turning in on ESPN+, USLsoccer.com, there's no conflict of interest. There's no competing priorities here, and we thank you for tuning in here tonight. Substitution being made here at the half, and that Adekora comes out of the match. I mean, this might be fitness related. We'll try to get word on that because Adekora was very good at center back in the first half of play. I do not see him on the Ottawa Fury bench, so that will be a concern for Ottawa, but we do get a look at David Edgar coming in for the Ottawa Fury.
Yeah, I think Nada Adekora, he's had a solid career. He's a top professional. Seeing him with an ice bag on his right knee right now.
Yes.
And it's difficult. I know the Ottawa Fury play at TD Place on turf, but it's not easy playing on turf. And maybe that's had an effect, but he's had a fantastic first half. I thought
perhaps he's been carrying something.
Possibly, but I thought the partnership at the back's been excellent for the Fury. But it's always great to bring on an experienced player like David Edgar to hopefully see this through for the Fury. Quietly goes about his business out of core. He really is a top professional. Top guy off the pitch as well.
So here we go. No changes for Michael Rabaska and TFC2. Going to try to capitalize on that 76% possession in the first half. All Swedish, no finish thus far as we're underway here in Toronto. A beautiful night. It's been so hot and muggy in recent days, but a nice cool little breeze. It's around 20 degrees Celsius. Compared to last night, it was about 28, 29 at this time.
Yeah, it was horrible. I got out of the shower and I felt like I needed another shower.
I feel like I've just embraced sweating this summer. It's just...
Yeah, you had a tough 5 weeks in Europe there, right?
If I'm going to stink and be sweaty than everyone else is as well, then I guess that's okay. Here's Ashton Morgan down the left-hand side to Ryan Telford, Canadian to Canadian.
Not to point out the obvious, I think that next goal at 2-0 is going to be so important. If TFC2 are able to nick an early goal here, I think you're right back in it. But I think if you concede, it's more or less game over at 3.
Crafty ball by Okello to find Campbell there. Haglund.
Looks as though the second half's going to play out a little bit like the first, unsurprisingly, with Ottawa sitting extremely deep and TFC2 just going at work, trying to break it down.
Those are 2 very good passes out of the shoot by Okello. Here's Baquero, top corner, back in the net! And just like that, less than 2 minutes in to the second half of play, Toronto FC 2 cuts the lead in half. Lifeline indeed. Baquero gets it It's Ottawa Fury 2 and TFC 2 1.
Beautiful strike from Baquero. Nice diagonal from young Noble Okello. Ottawa clear it here, and it comes to Baquero at the edge of the box, and it looks like he's going to hit it first time and really step into it, but he moves his feet extremely well, and he just changes his club at the last minute.
Here they come again. Sorry, Terry. Here's Baquero to Endo, back of the net. In less than a minute, Toronto FC 2 scores twice. Disaster for the Fury, something special for Toronto FC. Endo gets it. USL Player of the Week last week gets on the board again. And here we go, we're all level at 2 apiece.
That's some halftime talk from Rabasca. Sebasa Endo gets in behind the back four of the Ottawa Fury and just tucks it over top of the outrushing Mansalve. Nice combination play at the edge of the box. Mansalve just goes down a little bit early, makes the mind up for Endo. Just before that, Baquero, he sorted his feet out extremely well. Looks like he was going to go for power. He feels it into the top corner, and within seconds, TFC2 are level. Great finish from Sebasa Endo after some wonderful interplay.
Incredible, 2 goals in less than a minute. And here they come again. Ball given away, it's Jordan Hamilton. He's on the run. Little bit of contact, a little bit of a nudge from behind. That's from Meyer Jaguar, and here we go, another free kick in a very good spot for TFC2. I love the interplay on that goal that just was scored. Hamilton to Baquero to Endo, no hesitation, some one-touch football.
How quick was the moving too? It's one touch, it's 2 touch with a purpose as well, where the back four for the Fury just couldn't quite settle. David Edgar, who's just come on at halftime, must be thinking, what have I just got myself into here? And the movement there to just even create that free kick, the movement from Baquero to come across and create that space in the middle of the park for Hamilton to come into was excellent.
A minute of madness here and a chance to find 3. Can they find 3 in less than 4 minutes? It's Hamilton and Endo over the ball.
Sebasa Endo is a little bit of a dead ball specialist. Spends a ton of time out on the training ground working on these. I think it sets up nicer for a right footer.
Endo steps back. Endo hits the wall, does its job. Hamilton hesitates, and that's half cleared by DeSantos. Hagman puts it straight back down the right side. Well done inside the area. Serbal, that ball spun away. Endo brings it down. Baquero, he's got options. Picked the wrong one. Difficult with the ball rolling to get your head over it, put it on target, but TFC2 showing all kinds of ambition here in the first 5 minutes of the second half.
I don't think you can fault Baquero there. He just stuck one in the top bin, tries on his left foot this time, puts it into the parking lot. You mentioned he had options. I thought Telford was in a better position there.
That was the ball to play to the outside. You had numbers inside the area.
That sort of the run from deep in between center half and fullback is causing Ottawa some problems right now. I thought Dante Campbell did really well to keep that ball in play, almost on the second phase. And Matty Serbal, rather than Sebasa Endo this time, makes that run in between the center half and fullback. What were you saying about the Eagles?
Fly TFC, fly, coming out just soaring here in the second half of play. 47th minute, circle that one. It's a big one. Baquero and Endo. And a 2-2 game here at Lamport Stadium.
What'll be interesting now at 2-2, where, if we're completely honest, that the points are a little bit more important to the Fury, whereas the Fury might need to just step out and chase the game a little bit to try and find that third goal and the lead, which could suit TFC2 on the break.
Well, it's a complete different complexion here now. Telford. Baquero on the overlap. Finds a Okello in that first minute of the second half made 2 critical passes, very good ball movement. And that's going to be out for a TFC2 corner kick. We should remember that Okello played the ball to the right. To Campbell was very good, then switched the play to the left-hand side, which inevitably created the first TFC2 goal.
Yeah, he's got a nice passing range, and I think his pass selection, just with playing more games at this level, is starting to improve. you saw in the Beccaro one, which started the move off, a nice 50-yard diagonal.
Captain Carl Haworth took him in the Haworth. He's back on his feet. Telford, out-swinging corner. Into the mixer, and Hamilton was there, just couldn't connect.
Looked like Hamilton just had a little bit of separation, was going to get a free header. Great ball from Ryan Telford.
Serble does well to stand up Tony Taylor.
Be interesting at some point whether Popovich just changes his tactics a little bit and goes after the game, or maybe he's thinking a point's good here. I don't know, at the minute, nothing's changed.
Serble. Hagland. Great 45-yard ball across the pitch.
Where's that been at BMO?
I know, incredible. Caro has two runners, far post. Hamilton does well, comes off the post. Linesman, his flag goes down. We're not afforded the privilege of goal line technology. Somehow that stayed out. What an incredible bit of athleticism from Jordan Hamilton.
It looked as though Beccaro just overcooked it a little bit. Hamilton was going to head it, then at the last minute, just sticks his left foot in, and like you said, great athleticism and also technique to just feel it back across goal. I think Monsalve just gets a touch on it and gets a little bit of luck off that post. Looking forward to seeing this one again now.
Well, we shall, you ask. You shall see it as wonderful ball to the far post. Beccaro had two runners. He had Hamilton and Endo. Like all strikers, got to be a little selfish, and spun it out with his left foot, and looked like Monsalve just got a piece of it and enough to put it off the post.
Yeah, it was nice movement from Jordan Hamilton. As soon as he recognized Beccaro, just had a little bit of time on the ball, just pulled off of the center half deep, and there was almost a 2v1 at the back post. It was too bad that there wasn't maybe a midfielder coming from deep to tap it in the middle of the goal. Great start to the second half. This might be the best 10 minutes, 9 minutes of TFC2's history over the last few years.
We've seen some decent games here. Big draw against FC Cincinnati was an impressive come-from-behind effort to earn a point. So we've seen some good football, but within a matter of a minute, 2 goals scored. It's very rare that you see that at any level.
I think both the goals have sort of been sort of similar to Rabaska's and the club's entirety, the TFC, Toronto FC methodology. Some of the ball movement and interplay, which you pointed out, has been different class.
Well, it's justice served. There's no doubt TFC2 has been the brighter side here tonight. It's not even close, so everything to play for here over the next 35-plus minutes. Gareth Wheeler, Terry Dunfield with you. Hope you're enjoying the match here from Lamport Stadium in downtown Toronto. Endo could have laid that off to Campbell, kept it.
Even the detail in the passing there from Okello was nice, hitting the front foot of
another great ball, played very
Campbell.
well out of the room. Noble Okello is. Telford. Well defended by Edgar there.
Wasn't a bad overlap from Morgan. I thought he could have left Telford isolated 1v1.
Serble's going to go into the book. Matty Serble just knew it. Broke up the counterattack by pulling back Oliveira, and he's shown the yellow card for his efforts.
A little bit of a professional foul, easy one for David Berry to give Serbo a yellow. And if you're gonna press high and commit bodies forward, at times teams will counter, and I'm sure TFC2 are aware of the threat of the Fury on the counter. And look, if teams are gonna counter, you're gonna have to foul players. It's as simple as that.
Second caution of the night, the other one going to Jason Hernandez of TFC in the first half of play. Big collision with Steven DeSantos.
He is a big boy, DeSantos, isn't he?
Again, Ottawa, I'm not sure why. if you're Portilla, you go short in that situation.
I think David Edgar gave him a little bit of a stare. I don't think he was expected for it. And I think Portilla, if you're going to go short there, not only do you see the pass of David Edgar, you need to see the next pass, and there wasn't really a whole bunch on for Edgar.
It's a great point, Terry, and young players need to keep that in mind, don't they? It's not necessarily the first pass you make, but where it's going to go next.
You know, there wasn't really an out for Edgar. I think the Fury had committed bodies forward for the long ball and just handcuffed him a little bit. I always like to play as a player, play short, and look to break sides down.
Time and place, and
well
you
said.
have big bodies up top. Caro. Telford. Caro right from the same spot he scored this time. Tried to pull it to the near post.
Yeah, just mixing up his crosses there. Telford, instead of putting the ball into the box, just cuts it back to Picaro, not far from where he scored, just cuts across it. I think Ashton Morgan's spending a lot of energy looking to get forward. Sometimes, look, Ryan Telford's very good 1v1. Just let him do his thing.
It's fun to vote, and we should let you know that voting runs throughout this weekend. For the USL's monthly awards, have your say in the votes for Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, and Save of the Month at uslsoccer.com. Wheeler and Dunfield with you. Spirited crowd here at Lamport. Off week for TFC, but TFC2, very busy time. Jason Bent, the former head coach of TFC2, now part of TFC's coaching staff. Greg Vanny, among others.
Robin Fraser just sat beside him.
The entire crew's here. President Bill Manning is in attendance tonight. General Manager Tim Bezmachenko. And right in front of us, Canadian soccer legend, we should point out, Mr. Dick Howard. So,
top man Dick Howard, as are all the TFC brass, but Dick Howard, we see him at Toronto FC games in the press lounge.
He's done a lot for the game, both on and off the field here, the Canadian soccer community. There they are, looking on.
Assistant GM Corey Ray sat beside his wife,
Jamie.
Jamie.
You go on to name everyone, Terry.
Tim Bezbachenko in the stripes, Bill Manning just in behind them. And
by the way, the order that Terry will list them off is the level he's sucking up to each one.
So it's nice knowing everybody. So I think Dick Howard's going to give me a job now. I remember Dick Howard from Soccer Saturday in the mornings, host of TSN he was on.
He's done work with the Canadian Soccer Association, work as an ambassador with FIFA. He's done a lot. Former player back in the day.
Goalkeeper, wasn't he?
He was. Taylor on his left foot again, and as Picaro had to go from a similar spot to where he scored, Tony Taylor flashing back to the 4th minute.
Real explosive player, Tony Taylor. I think he's a player that you need to stop early. If he starts to get a little bit of momentum, a little bit like Ryan Telfer, he can be very dangerous.
Santos does well. A rare touch for Lubuyero, does well. Here's Oliveira on the trot. Taylor, can he spin on his left foot? Goes right, high, and wide. Well defended by Toronto FC, limiting his space that time around.
Yeah, I thought Ashton Morgan did a good job just showing Tony Taylor wide. It was a nice counter from the Ottawa Fury. Started with some good hold-up play from DeSantos. Eventually comes out to the right-hand side, and I think the distance and spacing of Ashton Morgan was very good, and he just stalled the momentum of the attack a little bit. Just takes a strike off balance. Tony Taylor, what a great strike that was, and within the first 10 minutes.
Haglund gets stuck in. Good to see him back on his feet, because the one thing about Nick Haglund's professional career thus far is that he's had to deal with a number of different injuries. Knee injuries, back injuries. It's good to see him on a little bit of a run of form here. at full fitness.
Soft tissue, all sorts of different injuries, and had a reoccurrence of a bad knee injury. And
the pride of Cincinnati, Ohio, we should point out.
Yeah, but I think sort of going through injuries and coming out the other side sort of builds a little bit of character. And when the game's taken away from you, you start to even appreciate it a little bit more. Sir Alex Ferguson used to talk about he'd like to sign players that have been through some difficult times and come out the better side. And I think that's where players and just in life in general, where you're really tested when things aren't going well. And Nicky Haglin's been able to recover. And I think since coming and being drafted to Toronto FC, he's been a real asset to the squad.
Flag goes up offside. He's Ashton Morgan, and his night might be done because Kyle Bjornathan's about to check into the game here in the 63rd minute for Toronto FC, and yours truly gets it right. Ashton Morgan's night is done. 63 minutes of a run out with Toronto FC 2. Your thoughts on Ashton's play here tonight?
I think he's been solid. I think early in the first half, he had a little bit more joy on the ball. I think in the second half, Ryan Telford's been on the ball a little bit more. He's put in some deep crosses. His work rate up and down the left-hand side's been good. And he's from Toronto, and it's so important having local players in your club. And he's added consistency to his game in the last couple of years.
Well, he's a favorite amongst the players at the club as well, and I think that speaks volumes. Grew up right smack downtown Toronto in the St. Lawrence Market area, and when the team has achieved so much success, largely the players remember the players that have been here the longest, and Ashton Morgan is atop that list and has gone on to lead this organization in so many different ways. Embodies everything what the club wants to represent.
Well said. And regardless of whether he's playing for TFC or TFC2 or he's out in the communities, he's always got a big smile on his face. In the academy at TFC last week, I asked him to speak to one of my players, an under-14 player there, and said, Ashton, why are you playing in front of 30,000 people at BMO right now? What separated you from the other academy players that didn't make it? And he said, look, I wasn't blessed with the best athleticism or technique, but nobody would work harder than me. Nice message from him.
He's had to deal with a number of injuries as well. In my conversation with Canadian men's national team head coach John Herdman last week, he was speaking about the call-ups to the team, and he said he had to keep out players that have won championships, that are established internationals, and you knew that he was speaking to Ashton Morgan. Just wanted to look at some of the younger players, maybe a little bit of a different profile, but Ashton Morgan will be right in John Herdman's mix.
Yeah, I think a bigger player pool is obviously important, and competition for spots. Marcel de Jong in Vancouver's had a pretty good season. He brings that little bit of experience to that left-back role. Great to see former TFC2 players now looks as though he's very much part of the first-team roster here at Toronto FC. Liam Fraser called up to the full men's national team.
Hamilton, great switch of play. Here's Endo. He's got options. Goes in his own, gets past Lepere, puts a shot on target. Well done by Endo.
Great diagonal from Jordan Hamilton, but even better, what about the first touch from Sebasa Endo? He brings that out of the sky.
Brilliant switch of play. Jordan Hamilton this time, Terry, and Endo takes that ball down so well.
Yeah, just takes it in his stride, cushions it down beautifully. I thought Matt Serbel could have stayed away and just isolated Sebasa Endo a little bit more. Comes in on his left, and it's a nice little chop suey from him.
Adonesia Reed checks into the match for the Ottawa Fury. Zake Lubiera comes out, so like for like down this left-hand side for the Ottawa Fury. Endo does well again to keep that ball in play. He's been very active in tonight's match. Has Toronto FC's number 46. Good battle won there by Piniella in the middle of the park to Reed, his first touch. Ambitious ball played.
Yeah, especially on this playing surface.
Yes.
That's always going to run into Borja. just going back to Tsubasa Endo, I always judge wingers by how many crosses, how many shots they get into the box. Great take there from...
Silky smooth from Jordan Hamilton. Carry on.
You understand what I was saying before about Hamilton. I'll get back to Endo. How there's not many holes in his game. He's got pace. He can play between the lines. He can hold the ball up. Just maybe a little bit more lethal in front of goal, really. But just going back to Endo, I always judge wide players by how many crosses, what their final product's like, how many shots on target. And since coming back to the club, Endo, there's always a final product.
Sorry, Terry, 4-on-2, Reed, he goes to his right. Danger here, the Ottawa Fury skims off the post. The Ottawa Fury that close to retaking the lead. Toronto FC caught out a 4-on-2, and the Fury will be disappointed having not taken the lead here. Reed, the substitute, creates, Terry.
Extremely dynamic pace. Great strike from him. He hits it extremely cleanly. Borja's nowhere near it, but I love how dynamic that counter was. That is the Ottawa Fury and what they're all about.
I believe that was Oliveira with the shot attempt coming down that right-hand side. It was just a quick counter-attack, and he had options, and Oliveira just kissed that off the wrong side of the post.
I thought the passing across the pitch was excellent as well. Nice sequence from the Fury, probably their best move of the match.
Well, and that's a warning shot fired at Toronto FC. They're committing all kinds of numbers forward with so much possession.
And I think that's due to, I think TFC2 right now are oozing confidence, scored a couple early goals in this half at 2-2, but you still need to pay this Fury counter respect. Bjornathan was just caught high up the pitch there, and the two center halves were a little bit isolated. Hernandez did his best to get over it.
Free kick comes in, Oliveira, well done, and the ball goes into the back of the net. The Ottawa Fury retake the lead. It's been coming over the last few minutes, and the Fury capitalize off a set piece.
Yeah, it's a great ball whipped in. I thought TFC2 were just a little bit deep. Great ball whipped into the box by Oliveira, who just had that early opportunity, and it's the center half getting forward.
Well,
just
it looks like it came off the left back, Kyle Bjornathan. Looks like he had the final touch on it. We'll see if it's ruled an own goal, but certainly looked that way. Terry, on my goal call, I was a little bit hesitant because you couldn't really see who it came off of, but Oliveira on the set piece, and the second set piece goal for the Ottawa Fury here tonight.
Yeah, it's a fantastic, brilliant delivery from him. It's flat, it's in swinging, but I think TFC2 could maybe just be a little bit braver. And not only does the goalkeeper Borja need to do a little bit more, but I think the back line is just a little bit deep. They just started to sag, and when you're that deep, ricochets can happen. And I think
does the goalkeeper need to come on and take that, Terry? Just take control of his area. It's a
tough one because the ball's so low. It's not hanging up in the air for him to come. I think there's quality in the ball from Oliveira, but also I think the starting position of the back line for TFC2 is just a little bit deep. And maybe it's just a little bit disjointed as well.
Well, just listening over the PA, they've actually given it to Meyer-Jaguar, Thomas Meyer-Jaguar. I'm not sure if it came off the player. It looked like he claimed it. Perhaps we'll get another look here.
Yeah, it was a glance
to determine who it actually came off of.
It was a glancing header from Jaguar, and then I think it just ricochets off Bjornathan. It came on the back of Fury's best spell of the game in counterattack.
Getting word that it did come off of Kyle Bjornathan last. So for the time being, Meyer-Jaguar will receive credit, but that will most likely turn around. Here's another look for our viewing audience, just to make it official. Nothing that Kyle Bjornathan really could have done. It was just such a good ball played into the area. Oliveira takes it, and you're going to see it come off the chest. And that's where the goalkeeper needs to be barking out instructions. He needs to come out and punch, but quite clearly comes off the chest of Kyle Bjornathan into the back of his own goal.
Jaguar, I think also he times his run quite well across that near post, and it's not tracked.
Here they come again. The Fury, good effort by Oliveira, who set up that last goal with the Very dangerous free kick. He went off the post. He's been buzzing here over the last 5-10 minutes.
Looked as though it was a little bit of a free header at the near post from him as well. And there was so much pace in that cross. It just takes the slightest of touches for it to cause problems as it did. Be disappointing after the 2 goals just after halftime to again concede from another set piece.
The Ottawa Fury, they've done very well to steady the ship after conceding 2 goals in a matter of a minute. In the 47th minute, bang, bang, Toronto FC equalized. It was 2-2, and they've done well to come back and take this lead. Precious 3 points at stake here for them tonight. Ball played back into the mixer. Here's Serbal. Piniella does well to defend. Bjornathan. Good ball, far post. Lapierre does well as to half clear. Campbell. Endo.
Yeah, just going back to your previous point, I think the Fury regrouped after the scoreline went 2-2, and there was no signs of panic. And
good touch by Endo. Sorry, Terry, come back to this point. Serbal plays inside the area. Telford, big save. David Monsalve. Player goes down inside the area, and penalty given. Incredible. Jordan Hamilton goes down. The referee, David Barry, hesitated. Monsalve to the rescue. Then there's contact in the area. All that effort gone to waste for the Fury, and Toronto FC with a chance to equalize from the penalty spot.
Great cutback from Serbal, and what a save this is from Monsalve off of Telford. Jordan Hamilton does really well to not give up on it, and I think it's a clear penalty.
Monsalve just comes straight through the back of Jordan Hamilton. Slid at his legs. It was a mindless actual challenge from Monsalve. Edgar was seeing the ball at a play, and Monsalve just sheer madness coming through the back of Hamilton. And here we go. Jordan Hamilton steps up to the spot. Hamilton takes high into the net, no doubt. That shot attempt was never going to be saved, and here we go. Toronto FC 2-3 and the Ottawa Fury 3. Hamilton from the spot.
Yeah, Jordan Hamilton. He did really well to not give up on the rebound and just smashes it down the middle of the goal. Monsalve tries to gamble, looking at the screen to the left. Great penalty. It's cool, collected from Jordan Hamilton.
Terry, what I don't understand there is Monsalve, the goalkeeper, you want to make yourself big on a penalty attempt. He ducked down and he gave Jordan Hamilton so much net to fire at.
Yeah, the goal looked massive on him then. And I think the adrenaline from making that big stop of Ryan Telford just got to his head, and he really lunges through the back of Jordan Hamilton, who's going away from goal as well. There was no need to make that challenge.
And Edgar was there as well. That's the thing. You're a goalkeeper. You come in with a big save. It's just, you got to pick your moments to come out and play the ball. If the ball's going out of play, you just leave that alone. You take your chances, allow your defenders to come back and defend a set piece. Unnecessary mistake, and these are the small margins. And with Crepeau off on international duty, a big chance for Monsalve. Looks good making the first save, but you'll remember the second one, which was a mistake.
I describe it, I just say it was rash.
Yes. Baquero. Telford. Inside the area, Baquero flicks in the ball at a touch for a goal kick.
Yeah, Ryan Telford's come into this second half extremely nicely. Nice cut back to Baquero. I thought Baquero tried to do too much with that header. All you need to do is just glance it back into the mixer for Jordan Hamilton at the back post.
Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. Wheeler, Dunfield with you. A good one here tonight. 4-4 results. Well, just last night between Sounders and Tulsa, well, 6 more goals here tonight as Toronto FC 2 and the Ottawa Fury putting on a show.
A couple of high-level goals as well. We've had a little bit of everything, haven't we? Nice Ontario derby we've got going. I think it's a sign too that this USL, the quality, especially in some of the attacking play over the last couple of years, it's really growing, and any small errors at the moment are really being punished.
Yeah, magnified, aren't they? If you're Paunovic in the Ottawa Fury right now, do you take this point or do you try to kick on and take away all 3? You're 3 points back of a playoff spot, Terry.
I think there's just under 15 minutes to go. I think both teams are going for all 3 points, which should make it an exciting finish. I think where TFC2 are in the table, international break, the first team don't play till they play the LA Galaxy for another week and a half, I think.
Here come the Fury, far post, and it's Reed, the substitute! Instant impact off the bench, a great ball to the far post. Campbell was unaware, Reed read it well. It's the Fury 4, TFC 2-3, and back and forth we go. What a great ball, great run down the right-hand side of the field.
I think the positioning from Dante Campbell's excellent. He just tries to do too much with the header instead of just clearing it. He tries to flick it away. Reed, the substitute's in a great spot. It's a nice ball hanged up to the back post, and in that position, just hit the target and you've got a goal. A little bit of a mistake from Campbell at the back post, but again, the Fury countering at pace. When I see counterattacks, I like to describe them with the word dynamic, and again, we see it from the Fury.
Well, that came from the right back, a rare time where Carl Hallworth has been able to get up the field, and he made it count. That was a great ball to the far post, and here we go, another 7-goal night here in USL soccer, and a change has been made by Toronto FC 2. Matty Serbal comes off, and Aiden Daniels comes on his place. Foul right here. Piniella comes through the back of Jordan Hamilton. It's going to be a free kick coming up about 28 yards out for Toronto FC 2.
It's a real tough skill from Howarth there to not only be running at full pelt at turf, but to then cut that back to the back post. I really think the technique and quality in the cross is very good. Yes, it should be defended at the back post, but he's at full pelt on turf, and then maybe Hernandez could do a little bit better to stop that cross, but it's good play from the captain Howarth, and the substitute Reed scores, and a great reaction.
Well, Hernandez is drawn over there to cover a right back, making a marauding run down the right-hand side. So it's an uncomfortable position for the center back to be drawn out of. Jordan Hamilton, it's a little bit of a clash of heads, and he's going to receive some more treatment here on the touchline. We'll see if he can continue. Rabaska does still have Sean Hundle on the bench, who expedites his warm-up. So if Hamilton cannot continue, Hundle's there waiting in the wings. But a free kick coming up first. Like I said, 27, 28 yards out. Endo and Telford standing over the ball.
Kieran Trippier range.
Is that what it is? An Ashley Young range.
Yeah, there's definitely enough distance. It's far enough away from goal where Endo will be able to get it up and down over that wall, but there's going to have to be pace and swerve on it if you're going to beat Monsalve from this distance.
Endo gets over the wall and just dips past near that near post.
Be a tough one to concede there as well. Bjornathan, he's just come on the pitch in that left back slot where Howarth broke from, where the experienced Ashton Morgan was there. You just come back to 3-3, and again, Ottawa, no panic, stick to their game plans and score off the counter. Been very dangerous on the counter and also set pieces.
So Michael Rabaska has one more move to make. So does Paunovic and the Ottawa Fury. Looks like they're getting set to make their third and final change here of the match with less than 10 minutes to go. It's been a good one, back and forth here in the second half of play. The substitute, Donijah Reed, right now staring at a match-winning goal and a big one for Ottawa Fury if it stands 4-3. Wheeler and Dunfield with you at Wheeler TSN, at Terry_Dunfield on Twitter. Haglund.
I think it's a real lesson today, Wheels, in just sticking with what you believe and not panicking if you do concede, and really trusting in your system and style of play and the way you play. And that little bit of experience has been very important for the Fury. And I think it's been one of the better performances of the season from TFC2. But again, conceding, you can't concede 4 at home and expect to pick up 3 points.
Here come the Fury again on the counterattack. It's been the danger zone, danger spot for the Fury all night, and Nick Haglund this time takes down DeSantos. He's leaving Toronto with some bruises tonight, and Haglund's leaving, having gone into the book. Yellow card for the Toronto FC2 center back.
Yeah, it comes from just a mistake, a poor pass from TFC2, and the Fury are at the races. TFC2 now we're going to commit some more bodies forward here. I thought David Barry maybe could have played an advantage. It looked as though after the tackle, Reed was in. He's definitely stopping the transition moment here, but if you see the ball here eventually comes to Reed and he's in, but I don't think Fury mind the stoppage. Just breaks up rhythm. Drains a little bit of time off the clock as well.
That's the thing. The Fury are in no hurry whatsoever. Goals tonight, 4 different Fury players getting on the board. And this is a big one, Terry, because the Ottawa Fury, never mind the 4 goals tonight, they hadn't scored in 4 games coming in here tonight, so completely against the trend as DeSantos, his night is done. Jimmy Sannon coming into the match. Different type of striker, but another forward coming in as Paunovic staying true to his formation. DeSantos, what do you think of the night that he had through 83 minutes of play?
I think he's worked hard. He's held the ball up well. At times it isn't pretty, but he definitely has a role, and he's important.
Wow.
Avit.
Portilla into the night sky. I think the man on the moon, I think he was wide open there, almost hit him.
He's lost a little bit of mobility, DeSantos, but I think he's given everything, and as you said, he'll be a little bit bruised up getting on the bus that they've parked in front of it'll be an easy trip home. The bus is parked on the field, just go straight into the bus in front of the goal.
And it's going to be a rare time tonight where there will not be traffic on the 401. Mind you, there's a little bit of construction up in the 401 Don Valley Parkway area, but
and I think you've got to give the Fury credit too. Haglund and Hernandez between them, you've got probably over 400 MLS games.
Goals coming in the 4th, 37th, 69th, and 78th minute for the Ottawa Fury for Toronto FC2. 2 goals in the 47th minute. It's going to jump off the page. You're going to think it's a typo when you're looking at the USL Soccer box scores tomorrow, but it's not. And the goal from the spot in the 74th minute by Jordan Hamilton.
That looked a foul from Piniella. Aiden
Daniels goes down.
Yeah, he did really well to get across him there.
Here's Reed attacking on the run again. He's been very good since coming on. Paunovic calling, pleading with his players to get forward, provide any kind of support.
Yeah, I don't think you want a huge gap between the attacking line and defense. Fury were just getting a little bit stretched there. I think Reed's offered a little bit more than Lubera.
Lepere. Still in the trot. Manella. Howarth. I'll give the Fury credit. I mean, they came out for about half an hour after taking the lead in the first half and couldn't keep the ball in their foot, but they'd be much better here in the second half of play. And I think you said in the first half, Terry, that second goal just gave them confidence, settled them in, and even when they were rattled after Toronto FC scored 2 to start the second half, they've kept TFC2 honest here in the second half of play. It's been a much better performance. Here is Oliveira. Plays it over the top. Taylor with his preferred left foot. Just past the far post. What a great opportunity that was. Oliveira, he's been sensational here in the second half of play. Final change coming up for Toronto FC too. Malik Johnson comes into the game for Dante Campbell. So progressive change here for Michael Rabaska.
Yeah.
As the substitutions made him. More on that change in a moment. How well do you know the USL? Test your knowledge in USLsoccer.com's weekly picks competition every week, and you could win tickets to an upcoming USL soccer game of your choice. Terry, what do you think about the night that Campbell added the change that has been made?
Yeah, it'll be too bad. I think the missed header at the back post, which leads to the Furies' goal, is going to be the main talking point of his performance, but his play in open play, playing a little bit out of position at right back, I thought was excellent. I think he's really come on nicely and developed well under Rabaska, and almost by the month is getting better this season.
I like the change though, and it's no disrespect to to Campbell, that Malik Johnson has been playing some very good football in recent weeks. Here's Oliveira from distance. Akello gets a foot in.
Yeah, I like how you've picked up on that. He's kind of found a role as a 10, just sort of playing as a false 9 off of a number 9. And I think he's become more patient, and his movement's been better, and he's picking up the ball in areas where he can hurt the opposition. TFC now will go to a back 3 and just add an extra attacker.
I think there was a show for a handball as Haworth took it down. Here's Taylor out, muscles Hernandez in. He's whistled for a free kick. Ponovich cannot believe it on the Ottawa Fury bench. He's been animated all night, Nikola Popovich.
It's funny, Hernandez had to really sell it. It was a clear foul from Tony Taylor. There was contact there. I thought Taylor was just a little bit unlucky on his attempt before. It just checked back on him on this turf.
Endo. Chance for Telford to take. Far post, Hamilton's there. Gets past him, little push from the back. Jordan Hamilton called for a foul as time ticks away here.
Yeah, it was a nice ball into the box, and would have liked to see more Reds in there. It was just really Jordan Hamilton trying to make something out of nothing. Slight push on, I think it was the back of Chris Piniella. Another strong performance from Jordan Hamilton playing for TFC2. It must be difficult a little bit mentally for him to sort of playing for almost 2 teams. He's played a lot of games this year with injury to Josie Altidore. Victor Vasquez up top. He's had a good run with the first team, but every time he's been called upon for TFC2, he's really put a shift in, and I think he's got a nice relationship with head coach Michael Rabaska.
Monsalve in absolutely no hurry to get on with it. I think time wasting 101 right here, and you'll have to go out and buy Haworth and Reed and Oliveira and company a drink after this one. Let off the hook after he made a brilliant save diving down to his right. The penalty conceded that leveled this game at 3 apiece. Wasn't Monsalve's best moment, but that save was certainly worth the price of admission.
The highs and lows of professional soccer.
Well, and a goalkeeper is just so exposed, right? It's just...
It was an incredible save from Telford, as you described, to his right-hand side, and then just loses his head. I think that's where you need to keep calm and just let David Edgar deal with it. And I think we touched on it a little bit. You've got to give Jordan Hamilton a little bit of credit. I know Monsalve a little bit, and David Monsalve, he's done a good job to just keep his career alive. He's played in some obscure countries in Central America and Scandinavia. He had a spell with Toronto FC and just loves playing football. I know for a little while he had his own goalkeeper academy up and running, just lives and breathes it, and it's great to see him get an opportunity in Canada now again.
Here we go, like our popular segment on Come On You Reds, the Toronto FC podcast. There's 5, as in a high 5 minutes of time added on here.
This will feel like a long 5 minutes for Popovich. Dressed in all in black here. He's got a little Johnny Cash look going on. must get hot if he dressed like this when Ottawa played Toronto FC in the Canadian Championships. And I was thinking, some hot spots in the USL circuit in the summer.
I want to call him Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones because he is really the man in black.
Yeah,
black shoes, black pants, black tie, black shirt.
And the Serbian can pull it off. He's looking good. Actually had a spell with Swope Park in the USL before coming here and spent some time as Benfica B's manager, so he's got tons of experience. Got a clear methodology, a philosophy of playing.
More important than what
obviously
he's actually wearing.
You wouldn't want to play for him.
Well, I just never mind his clothes. He'll be wearing a smile across his face ear to ear if the Ottawa Fury escape here with the full 3 points here tonight. Would draw them level for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
And I think it sets you up nicely for the last 5 remaining games at the end of the season. And in North American soccer, it's so important coming into the playoffs on a good run of form and injury-free. And
big call here from the referee, and David Barry says corner kick. Reed and Endo both making claims. The Ottawa Fury bench cannot believe it.
Good timing now for big Nicky Hagelin coming up.
And here he is. Okello's up, Hagelin's up, Hernandez is up. Endo's arm is up. Ball inside the area, near post. Got to get that past. Well, it's not the first defender, but second one.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Howarth takes up a good spot just in that near post area. I don't think you need to be too precise with so many big bodies in the box.
Flat ball played by Bjornathan.
Just underhit it a little bit.
Boom. Nothing fancy. That's the message right now from the Fury bench.
Oh, good football from Endo.
Well done. Telford keeps the move going. Malik Johnson, some fancy footwork. As Telford to his right uses them. Telford switches to the far post, and Baccaro just comes a little shallow, just needs to knock that down for one of the multiple players up there inside the area.
It just killed the momentum of the attack, Malik Johnson. It was great footwork from him, but I thought he should have just let Endo keep driving forward with it, just stay out of the action. It's sometimes harder to just pull off of the play and just let Endo keep going there. It allows the back line that little bit, that extra second it takes to get forward to reorganize.
David Monsalve giving a caution for time wasting.
It's nice how David Barry hasn't ridden down the booking and taken 2 minutes to
get on with it.
Yeah, I like that.
Kello over the back. And again, the Fury will be in absolutely no hurry. Well, Oliveira just blasted it at Kello. I'm not sure why Oliveira just didn't let more time run off the clock. What was the hurry?
He'll be a nervous boy right now if TFC2 score from this attack.
Ponovich cannot believe it on the Fury bench.
It'll be a horrible video session for him tomorrow.
Baccaro to Johnson and lets Monsalve off the hook. Looked like that one was on a tee.
He sort of gets caught in 2 minds. He's a little bit safe with it. He sort of feels it back towards goal. He doesn't really strike it or doesn't cut it back into the bodies.
Ponovich is still screaming from the touchline. And for good reason. This is their season. Big touch by Jordan Hamilton. Here's a pacey. Malik Johnson plays it back. Baccaro's there. Big clearance by Haworth. To be very good on the night.
Just thinking that he's quietly had a very good game at fullback tonight. He's led by example. He's been steady. Set up the winning goal at the back post for the substitute Reed. Just goes on about his business.
Well cut down by the Ottawa Fury. And again, Oliveira, he's been so good here for a stretch in the second half. Just the last 2 minutes has been a mare. An absolute nightmare.
Say it how it is. He's just lost a little bit of composure.
Ball.
He's going for that killer pass.
Thought he was going to have one last chance for Toronto FC to put that ball up inside the area. Instead, David Barry's seen enough. And the Ottawa Fury, let's call it the great escape. A big 3 points. Ponovich is still in a yelling match with Oliveira. The coach and player having a go at one another. They pick up a full 3 points. Ponovich is being held back by his assistant, as clearly the coach and player not on the same page. Nonetheless, the overriding story here is going to be a big 3 points. The Fury
It's funny,
A
Popovich.
4-goal performance goes straight to Haworth, his captain, in appreciation of his performance. And there we go, the Ottawa Fury have now drawn level for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, it really is a massive point, 3 points for the Ottawa Fury. I thought they used their experience well, stuck to their guns, were a threat all night on set piece, scored 2 from there, and then as the game sort of evolved and it became more stretched, I thought they were organized defensively and looked very dangerous on the counter. For TFC2, they improved from their last game against Atlanta FC. In open play, they created opportunities, just can't concede 4 at home.
Final score here from Lamport Stadium, it's Ottawa Fury 4 and TFC2 3. What a game here tonight at Lamport Stadium in Toronto. A 7-goal show was put on by the Ottawa Fury and Toronto FC2, and the Fury right in the playoff mix in USL's Eastern Conference. They've drawn level for the last playoff spot in the Eastern Conference with the 4-3 victory. Gareth Wheeler and Terry Dunfield back and forth. We went over the second half. Toronto FC 2 with 2 goals in a matter of a minute in the 47th, but the Fury steadied the ship and saw this one through.
Yeah, the Fury really used their experience well. They scored early. What a strike this was from Taylor. Sets himself after a couple of touches, smashes it into the bottom corner, and after not winning in 4, it was just the start the Fury needed.
Portilla from a direct corner kick found the back of the net. This is what happened in the 47th minute. Back to back, it was Baquero, brilliant movement, and Tsubasa Endo's fresh up USL player of the team of the week nod. He gets in the ball to the back of the net in the 47th. Look, fast and furious we went. We can't even keep up with the highlights. 3-3 here. Jordan Hamilton from the spot. And the late shows from the substitute Reed, making it a 4-3 final.
Yeah, it was a great reaction. It was a great reaction coming out at halftime from TFC2 to make it 2-2. It then goes 3-2 to Ottawa, another set piece goal, 3-3, and then a little bit of quality from Haworth, a mistake at the back post, and the substitute Reed with the winner in the 7-goal thriller.
Look at the possession number, 73% possession for Toronto FC 2 on this night. They were very good, but anytime you go in and concede 4 to a team that hasn't scored in 4 games, you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, especially at home. It's going to be difficult to take all 3 points, but I think TFC2 in open play really improved from their last performance against Atlanta 2. I thought there was a purpose, there was a real game plan to try to break Ottawa down in wide areas. I thought the Ottawa Fury fullbacks defended well overall, but it's an improved performance from TFC2 and a real important 3 points from
It was
Fury.
funny, in the first half, the game was kind of dragging a little bit with the Fury playing very defensive, and we go out and get 7 goals in what was a thrilling second half of play. Toronto FC2, more disappointment, but for the Fury, they have eyes to the USL playoffs. On behalf of Terry Dunfield, I am Gareth Wheeler, and our entire crew, you'll be watching USL Soccer on ESPN+.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.